So I drank alcohol for close to 10 years and just reached 5 years without a single drop. It's the best decision that I ever made in my life, and today I'm going to break down 7 benefits of not drinking. The first benefit is that the past 5 years for me has been linear progress. And what I mean by this is that every day I work, things get a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. My business grows a little bit. My health gets a little bit better. My fitness gets a little bit better. My relationships get a little bit better. And this has been going on for the past 5 years. The person who I was 5 years ago compared to who I am today are completely different people. Because when I was drinking alcohol, it wasn't linear progress. There would be progress in life where I might get, some consistency in the gym for a few weeks. I might work hard for a few weeks or whatever. And then I'd be binge drinking or I'd just drink too much one night and then I'd just fall off for a few days and then kind of go backwards. Sometimes I might binge drink for like a couple of weeks and just destroy months worth of progress. What a crap life. Imagine a young man in the world that just kept making progress and then going backwards. To me, it was a sad existence. I'm 30 years of age now, almost 31, and being able to keep making progress is one of the most satisfying things that's ever happened. Because when you make things better and better and better for 5 years, it's an amazing, amazing thing. The second thing is, instead of being addicted to this short-term gratification of being a drinker, you start becoming addicted to long-term gratification. One thing that I've realized is anything that's short-term gratification based, video games, movies, fast food, drugs, all of those stuff can be fun in the short term. But in the long term, you're met with regret and shame and guilt. Nobody feels good after spending 12 hours watching a TV series or spending 3 days eating perfectly, then going on a binge with food. Nobody feels good after doing these short-term gratifying activities. And it leads to a pretty unfulfilling life. But when you don't drink alcohol, you stop this short-term gratification cycle. At least I did, because that was the main thing for me. Now, for some people, that might be marijuana, that might be binge eating food. But my main vice was alcohol. So once I'd removed that, I started getting addicted to long-term gratification. For example, let's use exercise and training as an example. See, nobody loves training. Training is hard. Exercise is hard. Yeah, you know what? There are good things about it and it can be enjoyable, but generally speaking, it's a difficult process. You're basically getting yourself into a place of discomfort, but the benefits happen way later. If you work hard for 6 months to get in better shape, then every day you're doing things that are about getting that satisfaction later in life. You're delaying the gratification. But when you do that, it leads to a much more fulfilling life because it's a deep satisfaction of what you've done. Because instead of doing this short-term gratification that most of the population do, you do things that the future you will thank you for. Not this kind of reptile brain version of you that just wants now, now, now. When I stopped drinking alcohol, I started being more aligned with that best version of myself, which is exciting. The third thing is how you attract so much better things. Now, listen, I'm not turning this into some spiritual channel or anything like that, but I really believe in this idea of vibration. And I believe that we're all vibrating at some kind of frequency. You know what it's like when you feel low vibe? You feel sluggish, you feel tired. And what typically happens to people that stay in a low vibe? Well, they attract other low vibe things. They might attract a bad partner. They might attract bad friends. They might attract bad influences on them. They might attract bad clients, bad work opportunities. People that vibrate at this low energy can often attract these things into their life. And it's almost like the world is a bit of a mirror. But when you stop drinking alcohol, that low vibe version of yourself kind of starts disappearing and you start vibrating on a different frequency. And I know this sounds a little bit woo-woo, but I don't care. I believe it. When I stopped drinking alcohol, great things started coming into my life. New opportunities, new people that weren't there before just started showing up. Because when you continually put out that good vibration, that good energy to the world acts as a mirror. And I don't care how successful somebody is that drinks alcohol. There's no way that they are continually putting out that best version of themselves if they keep drinking. So that's another thing. So that is another amazing benefit. The fourth is in the quality example that you start setting for other people. I might not know you personally, but I know one thing for sure. You are a leader. Now, that doesn't mean that you're a president or you're a CEO or something like that, but there are people in your life that look up to you. Maybe it's a friend, maybe it's a work colleague, maybe it's your child, maybe it's your spouse. You're setting an example for other people, whether you like it or not. And what kind of example do you want to set? Do you want to set an example that inspires other people, for other people to follow, that actually helps them better their life? Or do you want to set an example of somebody that's drinking, that's not taking care of themselves, that's letting loose? Well, I know what you want. You want to set a good example because you want to lead the people around you to a better quality of life. Who doesn't want that? Who doesn't want their friends and their family all kicking butt, exercising, eating healthy, not drinking alcohol? Because when you stop drinking alcohol and you start aligning with that best version of yourself, then yeah, you start to lead people. You start to set an amazing example for them. And I don't want to say this from a place of arrogance or anything like that, because all I'm doing is contrasting. Like, the person who I used to be was somebody that set a terrible example for people. But then as I stopped drinking alcohol, I changed. And I like to think that I do set a much better example for the people around me. I'm not saying I'm perfect or anything like that, but I've got like a little brother. I want my brother to look up to me as somebody that exercises, that trains, that lives a good life, that has a happy relationship. I don't want him to look at me and think, I never want to turn out like Leon. Man, that's just, even saying that makes me feel sick. Like, it would break my heart. Which leads me to the fifth thing. And the fifth thing is in how your skill development starts taking off. Now, studying any kind of new skill, studying a book, studying anything self-improvement related is hard. Sitting down and concentrating and learning a new skill and unlearning something else that you've previously done. Listen, it makes me tired. I struggle. But guess what happens when you start doing that for months on end? Well, you become a much more valuable person, which often means that you can make more money, or you can make money doing things that you love. You know, what happens if there was somebody that stopped drinking alcohol and they hated their job? They had some corporate job in an office, they hated their boss, they just wanted done with it. And then what they ended up doing is, in the evening, rather than spending that time drinking, they start taking a personal training course, or they start learning photography or videography or some new skill. They start buying a couple of business books, learning about how to do their own thing. And then after doing that for 6 months, they say, yeah, I can do this. And then they do a bit of work on the side, and before you know it, they've got their own business. Because again, going back to that short-term gratification, rather than listening to that kind of reptile brain that just says, feel good right now, they get uncomfortable. They read, they study, they do things that the future then thanks them for. And when they do that, and listen, I'm telling you, I've been doing that for the past 5 years, and my life is just completely different. When I moved to Thailand at the beginning, I was living in some place that cost like $150 a month. Like, I was just at ground zero rebuilding. But again, one step in front of the other, in front of the other, in front of the other. And then, now I live in Dubai. I live in this amazing apartment. You can see the incredible view behind me. That's not a green screen, by the way. Some people say, is that a green screen? But it's not a green screen. Now, the sixth benefit of being 5 years alcohol free is how connected you become with your spirituality. Now, I don't talk about religion on this channel. I don't talk about a relationship with God. I try to not talk about it because a lot of people that work with me in the Sober Clear program, the business owners and professionals that hire me, they often get turned off by this idea of a higher power and giving yourself up to God. In fact, even some of the people that I work with that are Christians, Muslims, religious people, even they get turned off by this idea, because if they need to continually ask God to help them get through a craving, then surely they still kind of want to drink. And then when I say that it doesn't need to be that way, then the message resonates. But one thing I don't want to do is I don't want to talk too much about this stuff because I don't want to alienate people. I don't think that it's a necessary thing for you to stop drinking. I don't think having faith is a requirement by any means. But one thing that's happened in my own life is, as I've become sober and stayed on this path, is my faith is stronger than ever. But this is something that actually happened to me after stopping drinking. I connected with that later on. And you can expect to develop a relationship with God, or whatever your version of God is. Hey, maybe that's not your thing. Maybe for you, spirituality means meditation and presence and all of that stuff. That's cool as well. But you can expect to be much more connected with your spirituality, which means that, quite frankly, you feel a lot less stressed, you feel a lot less anxious, and whatever spirituality means to you, you can expect a much better connection with it. And the seventh and most important and best benefit that I've found is confidence in the future. I'm no longer afraid of what's around the corner. For 10 years, I was afraid. I thought that I was going to end up getting worse and worse and worse, and hell, do you know what? I didn't even know if I'd make it to 30 years of age. The states that I used to get in, it's embarrassing. Like, I honestly don't know how much longer I had left. And now I don't feel that way. I feel confident. I know that the next few years is just going to keep getting better, provided that I stay with my decision that I've already made, which obviously I'm going to. And you can expect that as well. Feeling confident in what's next. If you click the video on the screen now, you can learn why a drinking problem exists with a new system to gain control.